Mira Business FM.
Howdy, it's 12:37. This is Mira Business FM. You're listening to Daybreak with me, Inzamam Rashid. Pleasure to have you with us this afternoon as we take you through some of the brilliant conversations that we had yesterday at the Future Hospitality Summit. If you've missed some of them, of course, remember you can just get it back on the old podcast after the show is finished, and of course across Mira Business FM social channels as well. Do not miss anything. Don't even miss a single second of the show. You can catch everything back later in the day when you're relaxing and rewinding after a tough day at the office, no doubt. I want to bring in my colleague Tim Elliott, who has been with me this afternoon. We've been talking about the Future Hospitality Summit and the conversations that we've been having. We just heard a brilliant, lively conversation with His Excellency Abdoulaye Job. He's the tourism minister for the Gambia. Fascinating conversation there. And we're going to move swiftly on to another conversation. A man who really has stood the test of time when it comes to hospitality and tourism in the UAE. Someone who is a big name in the industry as well. Kind of, you know, if you're in the industry of hospitality or tourism, you know this man, particularly in the region. He's done a lot for the region and shaped the way this region handles kind of hospitality and tourism. And he's worn a number of hats over the years. Right now, he's essentially retired or semi-retired, but is sitting on a number of advisory boards to assist with how they proceed when it comes to hospitality and tourism. So not really retired. When people say they're retired and then say they're on advisory boards, it doesn't really work. Tim, it was a fascinating conversation that you had with Gerald Lawless, who was the former CEO of Jumeirah.
That's exactly right. And that's also one of the questions that I put to him. I said, look, you know, you're no longer the CEO of Jumeirah, obviously. What are you up to these days? And I accused him of being unretired, really, because he's one of those guys, let's face it. So, and as you'll hear in the interview, he accused me of talking to his wife about him behind his back. But it was nice to talk to him because in all my years here, I'd never met him. He'd been around different radio stations or media outlets that I'd worked for, but I'd never actually met. I had time to spend with him. He's currently an ambassador for the World Travel and Tourism Council as well, and that's really kind of his main hat, I suppose, but very much not retired, very much, as you saw, and I saw yesterday, in demand, approached constantly for comment. Yeah. He was on a number of the panels. The main panel he was talking on yesterday, or part of yesterday, was Then and Now, and that was a panel about 2 decades of hospitality investment evolution. Yes. And I kind of think, I'm looking at you and I know you're nodding, if you're going to talk to somebody about that as a banner topic, there's probably no one better in this region.
Was he on speaking with Mr. Nasser Nawais as well?
On exactly that panel. It was also Jonathan Worsley, who's the chairman and CEO of The Bench, who are the people that put on the Future Hospitality Summit. Nasser Al-Nawais was there, the chairman of the board of directors at Rotana as well. So.
Interesting. So you caught up with Gerald Lawless. I had a bit of a chat with him as well. And one of the interesting roles which you mentioned earlier, he's on the advisory board for Ras Al Khaimah Tourism and Development Authority. And, you know, again, I said earlier when I spoke to Philippa Harrison that the new director for RACTADA is, she's probably got the best job in the UAE right now. And Gerald clearly is just helping that along as well. So he's in Ras Al Khaimah, spending a lot of time there, and is working in one of the most kind of popular and thriving Emirates, and Emirates which has got this great vision now for the future. Yeah, tell us a bit about the conversation and how that went. Please, I want to hear it. Let's introduce it.
The interview began with myself and Gerald Lawless, but also, and you'll hear this, there was a man with a bell.
Just let the man with the bell wander through. One of those moments.
Do you know what his nickname is?
Yeah, I do now. At the Future Hospitality Summit with Gerald Lawless and a man with a bell. we've kind of managed to stop you and grab you for a few seconds, Gerald. Just let us know why you're here and what you're up to today.
Well, I'm here at the invitation of the bench itself and Jonathan Worsley. And Jonathan and I go back a long way. I used to go to the International Hotel Investment Forum in Berlin back in the day,
Right.
Over 20 years ago. And I was talking to Jonathan, and he very kindly gives me the credit for suggesting to him that maybe we should do something similar in Dubai. And Jonathan is a fantastic entrepreneur, who really has developed and evolved the bench so well over the years. And now look at this today here at Medina Jumeirah. I think it's really fabulous to see
It's
so many
an
people.
amazing event. It really is. The bench, to anybody watching this, just in case, are the people behind the whole event, of course.
Yes.
Let's talk very briefly about you. To most people watching or listening to this, obviously you kind of embody Jumeirah in lots of ways, I suppose. That's one way of putting it. But what are you doing now?
Well, I mean, I've had a great time in my time at Jumeirah.
Sure.
And I finished around the time that I was becoming chairman of the World Travel and Tourism Council. I went into a head office role with Dubai Holding. Now I'm fully retired, but I do serve in a number of different advisory boards, and,
Let's be completely honest. You're not really fully retired at all, are you?
You're worse than my wife now.
I know. What, she told me to come and talk to you today.
Oh,
Keep an eye on you see. But I mean, you're still pretty busy, obviously.
Yeah, relatively busy. I think it's important to stay engaged. I love this industry. I love travel and tourism and hotels, hospitality, which I think that is really still underestimated by governments around the world, who rarely even consider international tourism as an export, which actually it is if you think about foreign currency coming in to a country. And also the huge benefit it gives. I mean, I'm representing at the moment the World Travel and Tourism Council as one of their ambassadors as a past chairman. I know we used to always talk about how travel, tourism and hospitality accounts for over 10% of global GDP, directly and indirectly.
Yeah.
But more importantly, in many ways, actually accounts for over 350 million jobs worldwide, which is about 11% of the global labour force. And this is something that really credit has to be given to the industry for the people who work. And look how seriously it's been taken over the years in the United Arab Emirates. And now to see Saudi Arabia understanding, wow, this is quite an industry. It creates employment and it creates a very good financial situation as well.
Well, it does. I mean, there are so many associated benefits, but look at the UAE, the path of the UAE. When I first came here, it was the mid-90s. Abu Dhabi was a place in Wales to most people. And I kid you not, I've heard that a number of times. Dubai is now, the UAE, Abu Dhabi is very much on the map.
Yes,
It's kind of front of mind, isn't it?
And look at the other thing, I serve on the board of the Ras Al Khaimah Tourism Development Authority.
Right.
And just to see what's happening in Ras Al Khaimah is phenomenal. And I think it's really encouraging to see Abu Dhabi moving so quickly. Dubai has led the way as far as tourism is concerned. And I'm delighted to see that. I mean, I also serve on the advisory group of Wassel Hospitality, which really is showing just the importance and the benefit of our industry.
Looking back on everything that you've done and pulling everything forwards, where is the future in terms of travel, tourism, hospitality in this region, do you think? What would you like to see more of, I think I'm asking?
Well, I would like to see, first of all, it being taken seriously, which now I think it is.
Right.
I would like to see very much that, like in the Emirates, for example, that it becomes a sought-after career to actually work in the hotel business, in the hospitality business, and particularly for Emiratis.
Yes.
I think that's something that is coming, slowly but surely. And I actually applaud the government for having now quotas and encouragement for private industry to ensure that they're bringing Emiratis into the business. I'm also very pleased to see the golden visa situation, the 10-year visas, the 5-year visas, which encourage people to come here long-term with their families. That's going to get very involved. As far as tourism itself is concerned, there's a lot of, I think, unfair criticism in some countries, particularly in Europe, about over-tourism. And there are other ways to do it. I've always given the example in Ireland where they brought in from the very north of the island of Ireland on the Atlantic coast,
Right.
the very south is 2,116 kilometers.
Okay.
And about 10, 15 years ago, they introduced this concept called the Wild Atlantic Way, which is encourages travel almost like the Camino in Spain. Year after year, you can walk it, you can drive it, you can cycle it.
Right,
And
okay.
it's brought an awful lot of tourism into rural areas, which then creates prosperity in these areas through either bed and breakfast, through small hotels. So it's spreading tourism away from the big centres, like Dublin, for example, into the rural areas. And I can see that happening as well in areas like Saudi Arabia, like the United Arab Emirates, like Oman, so that you have a nice spread and a good spread of the benefits economically and socially of travel and tourism.
You can see that in terms of GCC cooperation, can't you? I mean, I guess that's the natural kind of
Yes.
next step. There's a leap at the moment, I guess, in some ways, but to go to Alula and then think I'm going to go to Ras Al Khaimah for a couple of days, maybe I'll head down to Muscat, I'll go to Rui for a couple of days. You can see that.
I think that's something that has definitely come about with the whole concept of a GCC Schengen type visa, which they hope to introduce later or early next year, which I think will be fabulous. And I think it's one of the great defining roles of the European Union. Apart from Ireland isn't in it, but that's a different story.
We'll leave that there.
No, but Ireland is in the European Union.
Sure.
But it's not in Schengen because of its common travel arrangement with the United Kingdom. And that will remain. But certainly to have something like that, like a Schengen, because we've always talked in the World Travel and Tourism Council about having ease of travel, ease of visas. And I was very happy this morning to listen to the African Tourism Summit as part of FHS, to hear the ministers talking about trying to now unify Africa and have a common travel within Africa. So you have a Schengen type visa set up among African nations, which can only be beneficial.
For sure, it can. Well, look, I kept enough of your time. I know there's coffee calling. Gerald Lawless. I was going to say man about tourism, hospitality, town. I wasn't sure how to describe you, but thank you for talking to us.
Not at all. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, sir.
Pleasure.
Thank you very much.